It's cold and rainy outside. I just walked inside the greenhouse and my glasses immediately fogged up. It's in the mid 70s. It's about 80 degrees humidity and it's absolutely wonderful in here. So let's just take a quick review of how things have been growing the last couple weeks. We just harvested several cabbages today. We'll show you that here at the end of the video. We love taking these leaves off and juicing them. In the previous video I mentioned to you that we had harvested the cauliflower here. The same day we replanted with new cauliflower and they're coming on great. We also replanted with beets, and these are all brand new beets that have come on. I took out the purple cabbage here this morning. As you can see, we've been eating off of the Swiss chard with the cut and come again approach, which has really been spurring the plant into growing more food, and obviously we've been able to eat off of that. Some of the beets have already been harvested and some are getting ready for harvest. We've been eating the beet greens while the beets have been growing. Really happy with the onions. They're coming along well. Again, we've got the candy onions, we've got the Walla Walla onions, and down here we have some yellow sweet onions. Our squashes that we planted a couple weeks ago are really coming on well. They're blossoming and we are hand pollinating our squashes and melons. They're growing really well. Got some tomatillos that have just really kicked into high gear. While I was gone, these were actually getting overwatered. I had set the timer to water for twice a day and it was too much water. Obviously these need to be fed, and today is feeding day. So that'll take care of those deficiencies there. We've got our cantaloupe coming on, and also here our early dew honeydew melons. Pickling cucumber plants are doing very well. And we've got some Blue Lake pole beans growing here next to the banana peppers. Here is a magnesium deficiency here, which we'll take care of when we feed today with our weekly feed. We've got our Japanese long eggplants growing really well next to our Black Beauty eggplants. I've already pruned those this morning. And then I also came through and pruned our sweet banana peppers. And then we've got some nice bell peppers coming on here. Got a little bit of dirt on them, but some really good peppers showing up here. Looking at the back side of the tomato plants, on the opposite side of the 4-foot grow box, you can see our big beef tomatoes are absolutely loaded with tomatoes. Just incredible amount of tomatoes. This weekend is the weekend that people here in Idaho will start planting their gardens. We have some beans that are ready to harvest on our Blue Lake and our Kentucky Wonder. The zucchini continues to be a great producer. This is a golden zucchini. We're growing it vertically and it is doing quite well. The Siberian Rose heirloom tomatoes that we're trying for the first time are just now setting fruit, and they're not producing nearly as much as the big beef, but they had a kind of a rough start, so we'll give them some credit for that. Then here are the Kentucky Wonder beans, big, beautiful, healthy plants, loaded with beans in here. And we've got a good productivity from the Blue Lake, but not nearly as well. Here we have some more Soyo long cucumbers. We had a couple cucumber plants that were not producing well, so I just removed them yesterday when we got back into town. These are doing quite well. These are the Soyo long cucumbers also. Here we are back over to the tomato plants. These are the big beef, and they're doing well. These lower leaves had a little bit of curling on them, but as I look at the whole plant, I'm noticing that the whole plant has good leaves, good health, good color, so I'm not concerned about correcting that deficiency from a while back. Lots of blossoms, lots of tomatoes on the tomato plants. You have noticed that I have been removing some leaves. I felt they had too much foliage on them. Want to get the light to the tomatoes so they can grow and ripen well. But I've never ever seen so many tomatoes on a tomato plant. And the stalks are just super thick. Big, strong, healthy plants. Simply giving them the Mittleider weekly feed. And about once a month I come back and give them some pre-plant fertilizer, which gives them extra calcium and magnesium to avoid the blossom end rot problem. These are the cherry tomatoes we're trying for the first time. We got some new ones here coming in on the bottom, and we got some more blossoms up here. So that will be wonderful to eat those cherry tomatoes, along with the San Marzano tomatoes also. Over here on the hardening off table, we just have my wife's herbs that she's going to be putting into her herb garden. They're all doing quite well. We're feeding these the Mittleider constant feed, which is a diluted solution of the weekly feed in water. These small potted plants really thrive using that nutrient mix. Since the last video, we've harvested all of the spinach. Have enjoyed that. Here we have some celery. I just harvested the carrots that we transplanted from inside, and we have our new carrots down here looking really well. Our green onions are doing great. We harvested all the cilantro. The parsley is doing very well. Here we have the onion chives. The lettuce is doing fabulously well. We have been eating off of these lettuces for almost 2 months. So by using the cut and come again method, instead of having to harvest an entire plant, put a new plant in, this keeps growing and growing and growing. We simply come by, harvest from the outside, which spurs the plant on to growing more lettuce, and we're just eating and enjoying this beautiful tasting romaine lettuce. We're doing, of course, the same thing with the kale. We can see where we come by, harvest from the kale, and let the kale plants keep growing. Here are the onion chives that we brought in from outside. Some more celery here. Here is some cauliflower and broccoli coming on. This we planted the day that we removed the other cauliflower from the other side of the greenhouse. And here we have some nice cabbage that we've got to replace the cabbage that we've already harvested. We constantly want to be producing food, so the day that one plant comes out, if we're on our toes and on schedule, we can put the next plants in. But it's a beautiful looking garden, high yield, high nutrition, all growing right now with no heat. We haven't had the geo-air system on for probably 3 or 4 weeks now. So to put this all together, we harvested the cabbage this morning. Along with the cabbage, we take the outer leaves and we use those for juicing. Then we harvested the carrots. To that we add the crinkly lettuce, the romaine lettuce, some Swiss chard, some more Swiss chard, the kale from yesterday, some more cabbage leaves, some purple cabbage leaves, the 2 cucumbers I harvested yesterday, the head of cabbage from last week that we haven't eaten yet, the cauliflower from 2 weeks ago. Notice that it's still in great shape. Your homegrown vegetables, when properly fed, will last 2 to 3 weeks easily in the refrigerator. Minus the green smoothies that she's already made using the vegetables, and you get a pretty good harvest. All this grown and harvested before anybody else is growing or putting in the gardens here in Idaho, and all done in the geo-air tunnel from January through May with no external heat. That's the reason why we're doing this. It's the reason why we built the geo-air tunnel, so that we could grow fresh fruits and vegetables year-round at minimal cost, minimal electricity, minimal fuel, and get the goodness of fresh homegrown vegetables. Now that the gardening seminars and Mittleider certification is over for the spring, I'll be able to spend more time on editing and producing the videos on how to build the geo-air tunnel. So stay tuned and subscribe. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear, and you'll be able to grow your own fruits and vegetables year-round at little cost, in great enjoyment, and high nutrition.